What if I told you that the point was not to get every question right, but to get the right questions wrong? Let me explain. Hi, I'm Ethan. I think a lot about attention and stuff like that, but wanted to talk about the GMAT today because I think there are some misconceptions about it that end up costing people study time and costing people points on their score. So what is the GMAT? Well, it's the test for applying to business school. It's also a computer adaptive test, which just means that you take it on the computer and it adapts to you as you're taking it. When you get a question right, the next question is harder. And when you get a question wrong, the next question is easier. The test is sort of trying to dial in or figure out where your aptitude level is. Actually, let me just draw this for you. The test will start you off at something like, something around the median. Let's say you get it right. So now you're up here. Now you get a question of a higher difficulty. Let's say you also get that one right. You are cruising. Now, because you're up here at this high difficulty, you get the next one wrong. Then you get the next one wrong again. And basically, I'm just going to switch to a neutral color here. Over the course of the test, it's going to, depending on how you do, it's trying to figure out where you are. And the jumps will get smaller and smaller. And basically, it's trying to find this point where you're getting one wrong, one right. And this ends up being your section score, which of course is out of 51. Hopefully that drawing made some sense. What this means for taking the test is you cannot afford to get stuck and spend too much time on any one question. The error that a lot of people make is early in the test, they spend too much time on hard questions. And so basically their curve looks like they're going up, they're doing well, they're kind of up here. And then they've spent too much time in this section. So they rush through the end and their score craters. I mentioned earlier about getting the right questions wrong. One of the things that I didn't understand before I started preparing for the GMAT is that basically everyone gets the same amount of questions correct versus incorrect. Now, that's not exactly true, but you can score a 750 and get like 20 to 25% of the questions wrong. It's just about getting the right questions wrong. When I was studying, one of the tips that was given to me was skip 2 questions per section. This is kind of like hacking the test a little bit, but basically they recommend that maybe between questions like 20 to 22, about 2/3 of the way through the section, you actually purposefully skip those questions. So you just answer randomly and move on. You're banking those 2 minutes that you would have spent trying to get that question correct and saving it for the end so you can really make sure that you finish strong. And they figured out that the extra time and removing the time pressure actually leads people to score higher. The other super common misinterpretation is misinterpreting the percentages associated with your subscores. A lot of people will take a practice test and they'll look at their results, and I'm just looking at some here. Let's say their verbal score is 36 and their quant score is 48. Now, 48 in quant is an insane score. It's out of 51, so 48 is super high. And they look at the percentages. A 36 on verbal will land you roughly in the 80th percentile. And a 48 on quant, again, 48 is an insane score, will land you in the 67th percentile. So what this person might incorrectly think is, oh, I'm in the 80th percentile already for verbal. I'm only in the 67th percentile for quant. I need to spend time studying for the quant section. And what that means is they're leaving all these points on the table on verbal because they're misinterpreting the percentages. Now, why does this kind of weird percentage thing happen? The way it was explained to me is it happens because there are a large number of non-native English speakers who take the GMAT. Many of the countries in which these non-native English speakers live have much better math education than the US. The US, sadly, not known for its education, and in particular, the math piece, it's not world-class. The percentiles get skewed for both the verbal and the quant section, particularly for Americans, and, shout out to my fellow Americans, and for people for whom English is one of their native languages. They tend to look at the percentages and over-index on studying for quant, because almost invariably your quant percentage will be lower than your verbal percentage. My advice would be, don't even look at the percentage. Just think about, out of 51, how close am I to that top score? And how many points am I leaving on the table? These are the two main misconceptions, kind of non-intuitive things for me that I learned when I was preparing for the GMAT. Hope this was helpful. If you're getting ready to apply for business school and take the GMAT, I wish you good luck. I will say that I used to think that the GMAT would be the hardest part of applying to business school, and it turns out it was the easiest part. And for people who've already been through this process, you'll know what I mean. As always, thanks for watching, and thanks for your attention. I'll see you next time.